American Cookout, brought to you by the Weber Stephen Products Company.
Well, actually, it was your present, your croquet present, you know, and I thought it was maybe the real song together.
Every year.
And every year, I always get to find out what I have. Did you do this?
I did do that.
Linda, it looks nice. It really does. You know, yeah.
I thought
Nice fresh flowers.
Nothing I'd rather do than set a nice table for my friends and family.
I'd rather eat this wonderful turkey.
Well, I had a feeling you'd get to that real soon.
Hi, I'm John Turzak. Welcome to the Great American Cookout.
And I'm Linda Carter, and we're here today for a quite festive, delicious holiday fair. And our lineup, I think, is kind of traditional. We're going to have a nice roast turkey and a apricot walnut stuffing.
Great pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie. What's Thanksgiving or holiday without pumpkin pie?
Broccoli and cheese sauce.
And a delicious sweet potato casserole.
I'm psyched to eat this.
You
I really am.
are psyched to eat. Well, I'm kind of getting in the spirit myself.
I wait for the holidays. We wait for the holidays, and other holidays we cook other things in the kettle. And this particular holiday is special for me because of this guy here.
All right. Guys, just begging to go in. All right. What we're going to do today is we have a 14-pound turkey here, and we're going to prepare this lovely little bird here for our whole meal today. We're going to cook in our Weber kettle. And for this particular turkey, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to cook a turkey out of doors in a Weber kettle, because there's a few things you want to do a little differently. And the first is, actually, while I'm explaining, why don't you do the first step? You want to brush it with, some cooking oil, olive oil, peanut oil, whatever. And basically, the first thing you want to do is when you go to the grocery store, you need to look for a particular shape or size turkey, and you want one that's just kind of broad and flat. I have people ask me what size turkey will fit in a Weber kettle, and it's not the poundage, it's more the size of the turkey. So one that is broad and flat. So
Nicely oiled now.
you can bug your butcher for a broad, flat turkey. Okay, and really all you need to do is just, as we said, baste it with a little oil and season it as you would normally.
What we have here is a 14-pound turkey
Right.
today. And we'll talk a little bit about knowing when it's done.
Right.
It's not done as I salt your feet. And we'll get this thing in the kettle.
Okay, we've already basted the underside of the turkey, and we've already seasoned the interior of it, so that you would pretty much do as you would normally. And if you would like to remove the lid there, I will set this turkey, and we can get this started. And that just goes right
I'll need your hands for later.
right in the drip pan. We're going to cook this over the indirect method today. Actually, let's cover this right back up. That's very, very important.
Indirect method?
Indirect method. We'll talk about that a little later.
Okay. The stuffing is probably the most important thing people think about when they think of their turkey, because that's the thing that separates the men from the girls.
You got it. I think everyone has their favorite recipe for a turkey stuffing. This is one of my favorites because it has chopped apricots in it, and I think that's a nice little addition to your stuffing.
One of the things I'm going to do is saute. We'll go through the ingredients, and if there's anything that you miss or you can't keep up with, remember that at the end of the show, there's an opportunity for you right in to get the recipes. We're going to start the stuffing out by, we have a kettle over here that's warmed up and ready to go, and right, and we're going to saute a couple of our ingredients in here, then mix all the stuffing together and bake it also on the indirect method with the turkey.
Okay, we've got such a lovely day today that everything is going to be cooked out of doors. So why don't you start, you want to chop up an onion and a rib of celery and really get that on to cook.
We'll put a little butter in here to melt first. So by the time this is ready, the butter will be melted.
And our other ingredients for our stuffing, I've got them all pretty much prepared here. We've got about a half a cup of chopped parsley, half a cup of chopped dried apricots, about a half a cup of chopped walnuts, and these have already been sauteed in a little butter. And our seasonings are here somewhere. We've got, this is an unusual stuffing, I think, because it doesn't have poultry seasoning in it.
And it's a little fruity.
Right, it's a little fruity. And tarragon, there's about a half a teaspoon of tarragon, salt, and pepper. And I think the tarragon is a nice combination with the apricot. Actually, I've also been known to put chopped apple in stuffing. Raisins are good.
Mushrooms, sourdough bread.
This is the time I clean out that drawer in my refrigerator.
Okay, I'm gonna toss the onions here in the saute pan.
Okay.
You'll notice that we're pretty well dressed up today because we're putting together a meal that you can cook outside, and it's pretty easy.
Right. I think that's the secret of any holiday meal is you really want it to be relatively easy preparation. And I don't know about you, John, but every holiday time of year, I mean, I think it brings out the child in all of us. I just really get excited about a big family dinner. So
Chop up the celery here.
All right, so we want 1 rib of celery. But sometimes I put garlic in my stuffing. Really, it's real personal as far as, you know, your favorite stuffing recipes. And while that's cooking, why don't I just get these other ingredients prepared here?
You know, one of the questions that comes up for many people making stuffing is how much stuffing should I make? Because the turkey really can't hold enough stuffing for the amount that we usually want to eat. So Linda and I normally make 1 cup of stuffing per person.
That's usually what you figure. The turkey that we've got today is, as we said before, a 14-pound turkey. And basically what you need to keep in mind when you're cooking a turkey in your Weber is you want to figure about 11 minutes per pound of cooking time, about 11 minutes per pound. Because it really is a little, you really can't go to your regular cookbooks. You really want to follow the directions that come with your Weber kettle and follow those correctly, because it does cook the turkey much differently than in a conventional oven.
We found that to be true with just about every large piece of meat that we put on there.
Right. It really lends itself well. I'm making a mess here.
There's also the intention of many of the people who sell turkeys to tell you exactly when a turkey's done and how to cook it, and it doesn't always apply to every turkey in every kettle or in every oven. And one of the methods I use also to determine when a turkey is done is to stick a fork in it and press a spoon up against the holes where I put the fork and let some juices run out. And if they're clear, the turkey is done. And the only consideration to that, I might add, is that the legs take a little longer to cook than the breast. And you might want to be careful that you think the whole turkey's done and really the legs aren't, but the breast is. So this has been cooking now for about 3 minutes. And Linda's got the rest of the stuffing mixture in here.
Think that's ready to toss yet, or should that be cooking a little bit? Normally, I think you'd want it to cook a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's about ready. It's okay.
Nothing beats the smell of cooking onions like that.
Really?
Okay, and you can see what an easy recipe this is. Again, I'm trying to think of other things that I like to include in my turkey stuffing, and sausage is one of them. You know, you could certainly add a little pork sausage to this if you'd like.
Another thing that we're going to do with the stuffing, which is a little unusual, is instead of putting it in a casserole and placing it in the kettle, we're going to take a double thickness sheet of aluminum foil and wrap the stuffing in and just kind of fit it into the kettle also to cook in directly.
Okay, and the nice feature about that is it does cut down on your cooking time if you're not cooking a stuffed turkey. So if time is a factor, you can just, as we said, put your stuffing in a casserole. Or we're going to do something a little differently today because given the size of our turkey, we really don't have the room for another casserole on the side. And this is really a helpful little hint so you can accommodate more foods in your Weber kettle.
You know, Linda, no matter how many times I cook stuffings separate from turkeys, I always like to get that stuffing in the turkey and then get in there with my hand later the next day when I'm sitting around. And
that is the best part. I really agree with
nice,
you. I know.
So we wrap the stuffing up?
Okay, why don't you get that ready?
Move that bowl there.
Get that out of your way.
This will be double thickness just to protect it a little bit.
This is heavy-duty aluminum foil.
You want to just dump it right in the middle?
Okay.
This is one of the great things about cooking your turkey in the kettle outside also during the holidays is that most people have only one oven. And it frees up your oven to cook your other things in. That sometimes you might want to split your cooking up between outdoor and indoor.
Right. I inevitably run out of room, so this is really a nice little feature. All right, so we're going to roll that. And again, you can, depending upon what kind of space you've got in your Weber kettle, you can just kind of shape this to accommodate whatever space you need.
Okay, I'm going to...
Okay, why don't you use your gloves. We've got nice barbecue gloves for you. And I think that's, you've got to have the right equipment when you're cooking, cleaning, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, now, I'll put this on, so I want to explain where we need to put it. But because we're cooking over the indirect method today with our turkey...
I want you to burn your hands up.
All right. Why don't you take that? You want to set that not directly over the coals, but right in the middle. Right. And we've talked about indirect cooking several times in the course of our shows, but again, just to reiterate, over the indirect method, you've got your drip pan in the middle, and in this case, we don't have the drip pan down underneath. We actually have it right under the turkey, which is in the rack, and then you've got your coals set up on either side. Now,
I'm going to save those juices.
right, then for the gravy a little later. The most important thing to keep in mind here is when you're cooking a turkey in a Weber kettle, you must at every hour add more coals.
Right.
Because your fire will die down a little bit. So you start out with 25 on either side for this size kettle, and 1 hour into the cooking time, you just drop 6 more briquettes in that side, 6 more on that side, and then you immediately want to cover your kettle. And the beauty of cooking a turkey in your Weber kettle is it's no peak, no fuss cooking. You do not need to baste the turkey. You just forget about it. Once an hour, you'll come back and add more charcoal to it, but that's really fail-safe, no fuss, no bother way of cooking. And I find it does make a turkey much more moist. It's like a convection oven. You get the moisture from the outside, the air circulating, the heat circulating. This will be the most succulent turkey you've ever eaten in your life, John. I want you to know that. Okay, why don't our turkey's on, our stuffing's on, why don't, let's take a break and we'll come back and work on our sweet potato casserole.
Okay.
I'm a New Englander, and I'm not used to having such a beautiful, temperate day. There's no snow on the ground.
I'm not either. I'm from Chicago. And whenever we had holidays in Chicago, and we cooked in the kettle for the, wanted to cook our turkey or our ham or our leg of lamb, we would keep it outside in the cold and set up this gorgeous table like you did today inside.
Right.
And that works well.
Or you forget the bit about shoveling the snow off of your kettle before
sometimes.
before
Depends where you keep it. So you're going to sweeten me up with sweet potato?
I am going to try real hard to sweeten you up with some sweet potato. And
you tell me what to do and we'll get it made.
All right. We've got 2 vegetable casseroles we're going to work on right now. The first is going to be a sweet potato casserole. And before I run through the ingredients, we need about a cup of chopped pecans. So if you would do the honors and chop up those pecans like a whiz.
Problem.
Okay?
My specialty here.
I know. You're such a good chopper, John. Now, our ingredients for our casserole are, and a lot of this has been pre-measured for us, we've got about 2 pounds or 4 cups of cooked sweet potato. And I really want to make sure you cook it. You can use canned sweet potato, or if you're a real purist or New Englander like I am, you'll buy your sweet potato or candied yams and peel them. You want to boil them for about 15-20 minutes. You want them to be nice and soft the way a mashed potato would be.
One beaten egg.
1 beaten egg. And then puree your cooked sweet potato. So you have about 4 cups. All right, we got brown sugar in there, 1 beaten egg, about 2 tablespoons of orange juice. I'll just kind of pretend
that's squeezed?
Freshly squeezed, right? You go out into your backyard if you're in Florida and pick a couple oranges off the tree.
I never had holiday in Florida though. It sounds kind of.
It's strange. I have. I've been there, and it is
walnuts?
hard getting used to. About a half a cup pecans, walnuts, whatever you'd like to use. We do have pecans today. Now, let's not get this confused. We need some ingredients for our toppings. Let's set those aside.
Okay.
Salt, about a teaspoon of salt, a couple pinches of salt, and some pepper. Why don't you do some pepper, and I'll start mixing all this up. One nice feature of this recipe, and I think you really need to keep this in mind when you're cooking a holiday dinner, is as many of those dishes as you can get done in advance just frees you up for the last-minute preparations. This dish you can actually do the day before. Prepare everything, refrigerate it overnight, and then just pop it in the oven when you're ready to bake it.
When I was a kid, Linda, I'd love to have marshmallows on my sweet potato.
I should have known,
I'm not
John.
getting that today, and I just want you to know that I should be getting that.
Comes out again.
Okay.
Okay, now I think that's pretty well combined, and what we want you to do
put it in the casserole.
Right. You want to just put this into about a 1.5 quart buttered casserole.
These are probably traditional vegetable garnishes that you serve with turkey for the holidays.
Well, again, I have to say, as a New Englander, I can't eat turkey without rutabaga right next to it. I'm a real rutabaga fan, so maybe some other show I'll talk about my famous rutabaga casserole, or rutabaga pudding.
Now, brown sugar on top.
All right, now what we need is about 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. Just want to sprinkle that around.
This is not like on our moderately caloric show we did last week.
That's true. That's true.
But this is the holidays.
This is the holiday time. Who diets in the holidays? That's my feeling.
I know.
Okay, so 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. We want about melted butter. Actually, put the pecans on first.
Pecans on first.
About a half a cup of chopped pecans, and then put your melted butter on top. And the beauty of this casserole is the top caramelizes with the brown sugar and the butter, and you really get a nice crusty topping.
Looks nice. This is the part that everybody tries to get their spoon on.
Right. Oh, that looks yummy.
Really?
Okay. All right, that's done. Now, our next casserole is a...
broccoli with cheese sauce. So let's put this one aside. And quickly, one of the things that I did earlier to make the broccoli and cheese sauce, this is a very simple dish, is I took in the kettle some... You want to put the lid off the kettle there? I took some water, some sauteed onions, a little bit of butter, and some flour, and mixed it in my saute pan here with some grated cheddar cheese. And pretty basic and pretty delicious. Everyone likes it. Then I broke 3 eggs and beat them and added them to the mixture. And it's a simple case of pouring it over the broccoli, mixing it up, and putting it in our aluminum foil pan that we're going to bake it in.
We'll get that out for you.
This is really a holiday pleaser for most people. It really is, including me.
For people that don't like broccoli, cheese sauce does wonders on any vegetable that someone isn't a big broccoli fan. You can almost disguise it with a delicious cheese sauce.
We're going to turn this into the pan.
Hold that for you.
And sprinkle it with some breadcrumbs and dribble a little bit of butter on it.
Certainly looks delicious. Okay, so breadcrumbs.
No breadcrumbs on the feet this time.
Oh, it certainly is nice to be outdoors cooking.
It is. It's really nice.
A treat.
Clean. And as you can see, I managed to get through this with my tie, and you just
I know.
so nice.
Look at me.
We're doing good so far. A little butter. Like 2-3 tablespoons of butter. Oh, that looks wonderful. And then
all right.
kettle.
Ready to cook? Now, we're going to be, again, cooking everything out of doors today, and I don't know if you can see or not, but again, when you're cooking in a Weber kettle, you want to cook over the indirect method. And the other thing that's kind of nice is you can see one of our casseroles we cooked in, like an enamel pot. The other one was in the little aluminum foil drip pan. And you can use almost any cookware you have from your kitchen. You don't need any special equipment. You don't want to cook with glass, of course. Corning is fine. But enamel cast iron or porcelain is also fine.
My favorite part of this meal is going to come up after we take this short break, and that's pumpkin pie. We'll be right back. Honey, bring more barbecue sauce out to the
Weber Room. The Weber Room. For food and friends and fun. Fully equipped with durable Weber kettles and go-anywhere portable grills.
What a nice day for brunch here in the Weber Room.
There are gas grills of all sizes in the Weber Room. Smoky Mountain cookers, wagons, high-quality tools, weatherproof charcoal chests and accessories. The Weber Room has wood chunks in 4 flavorful varieties. A portable fireplace warms the Weber Room at night. Weber torches, Weber electric bug killers, even Weber lanterns that won't blow out.
We entertain much more often since we furnished the Weber Room.
The biggest name in what used to be your backyard, Weber.
Linda, I want to say how good this eggnog is that you made, and let's have a toast before we get off into the pumpkin pie.
Do you notice my little fancy traditional dishes, too?
Well, some of us cook, some of us do dishes, and,
Actually, this is one of my famous eggnog recipes. It's just your basic eggnog with some eggs beaten into it. And again, there are many different variations on eggnog. You can beat egg whites into it. This, I must say, at this point in our menu, so you'll know everything will come out, this is a non-alcoholic punch.
And we like alcoholic punches also.
A little later if you want to add your rum to it or, whiskey. There are really lots of different liqueurs that you can add to it. But in any case, why don't I move the eggnog and get that out of your way, and you can get started
I'll tell them about the pie crust.
with your pie, okay?
I've got a pie crust recipe here that works well for just about anything, meaning quiches or fruit tarts. You can use it as a lining when you bake something in a pastry, like a savory item, like a meat or a fish. And the recipe essentially is you can either put it together in a bowl or you can put it together on a table. The ingredients are 1 egg, 1/2 cup of warm water, 1 pound of regular flour, all-purpose flour, and 10 ounces of ointment consistency soft butter, and a pinch of salt. And you mix it all together and form a ball, knead it for about 30 seconds, and it's ready. And because it's a butter pastry, it has a tendency to get soft and too pliable, so you need to refrigerate it, and then only when you're ready to roll it out should you bring it out and roll it out. Otherwise, when it's out, and you playing around with it, trying to figure out what you're going to do, then it gets too soft to work with.
How long should you refrigerate it?
Until it's a little hard, maybe 45 minutes, half an hour. Sometimes I put it in the freezer real quick if I'm in a hurry. And it works real well. And
can I ask you one question? What about adding sugar? If we're having a sweet, a dessert-type crust, would you add sugar to it?
You can add a little sugar. Okay, you can. And often you put sugar over the crust, as we're going to, or, we could have with this one.
Okay.
The pumpkin pie filling is simple. And, again, there's so many variables on this one. And I've made so many pumpkin desserts.
You made a lot of pumpkin pies in your day.
Pumpkin cheesecake, pumpkin soufflés with maple syrup sauce, and it's
pumpkin
just
cheesecake. Pumpkin cheesecake sounds delicious.
What we did with this pumpkin puree here was added a couple eggs, some molasses, a little rum, some sugar, vanilla, and nutmeg, and it's a pretty basic pumpkin recipe.
Like a winning combination.
Yeah. What we'll do now is turn it into the pie crust mold that's uncooked, and we're going to be baking this one in the Weber kettle, which is, really good. And
most people don't think to put something like a pie in a Weber kettle, but again, you're using that kettle when you cook, using the direct method, you cook as you would in an oven.
Yeah, but this is cooked in an indirect method, isn't it not?
Right, that's what I said, indirect method.
And we'll sprinkle some walnuts on top.
Or pecans, or whatever you'd like to use.
One of the things I serve as a garnish with this when you sit down at the table and eat it is sour cream and whipped cream mixed together with honey as a dollop on it or on the side of it, as opposed to just whipped cream, which we sometimes do.
I'm great for adding brandy. If you've got brandy in your pumpkin pie or rum in your pumpkin pie, add that to your whipped cream, and that adds a nice little touch to it.
I think this is ready. Ready for the kettle, yes.
Go in?
Yes, it is.
Again, cook using your indirect method for your pie. And
Linda, this whole dinner has been really easy. It's been a little too easy for a holiday, so that means we have a little extra time left. Which is nice.
Why don't I think it's about that time? Why don't I go see if our guests are here?
Okay.
And
I'll take a look at the turkey.
Okay, good.
Honey, bring more barbecue sauce out to the Weber room. The Weber room. For food and friends and fun. Fully equipped with durable Weber kettles and go-anywhere portable grills.
What a nice day for brunch here in the Weber room.
There are gas grills of all sizes in the Weber room. Smoky Mountain cookers. Wagons. High-quality tools, weatherproof charcoal chests and accessories. The Weber room has wood chunks in 4 flavorful varieties. A portable fireplace warms the Weber room at night. Weber torches, Weber electric bug killers, even Weber lanterns that won't blow out.
We entertain much more often since we furnished the Weber room.
The biggest name in what used to be your backyard, Weber.
Linda, you didn't have to do this. You have to give me a little pre-holiday gift, but thank you.
Well, this is a very appropriate little gift for you. That's what I think. And I looked far and wide for this.
Kiss the cook. Kiss the cook. An apron that says kiss the cook.
An apron to go with.
I get the feeling that you want to do something. Yeah, all right. I don't actually have to wear this, do I? This is just for show, right?
No, I'm not so sure. I really kind of like the looks of it.
I don't know about it. I'll have to look at this in the mirror later. You know, I didn't forget you either, you know?
I hope not.
This has been a long series we've done together, and there's a few things I want to remember by. One is how nice my education was on the Weber kettle. You know,
Isn't that lovely? Nice little Weber, kind of like a not a wind, but a glass chime for a Christmas ornament or for hanging in my window. Very,
Yeah.
very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's get all of our pre-Christmas presents out of the way.
We got some really good food to
And
finish
just
up here
get a
with.
look at our
Just-
lineup here of how our table is set and how we're all ready to go
Our
here.
turkey turned out so nice. It's brown and crispy. It's very.
I don't know
looks
if
like
you could pick this up, but it's just as juicy as can be. Really, I can see the difference when you're cooking in a Weber kettle like that. Okay, in addition to that, we've got
our broccoli and cheese sauce turned out so nice. The breadcrumbs browned it. It's gorgeous. It's edible. It's the kind of food you really want to sink your teeth into.
I can tell you're foaming at the bit, John. Okay, here we have our sweet potato casserole. Again, we've added some more pecans to the top of it. I'm one of those people that you can never have enough pecans.
The brown sugar got nice and crispy on top to underneath. And that's the part that I'm going for, with or without the marshmallows.
Yummy. And let's see what else we have
stuffing-
here. Our stuffing
stuffing
is
looks
all
really,
prepared.
really,
and again,
really
we just
nice.
dish it out and put it in a nice little casserole.
It looks great. That's really one of my favorite parts.
You know, it's still incredible to me that we've cooked this whole holiday meal out of doors in a Weber kettle.
Yeah,
It's really wonderful.
it made it a lot easier for me because it's
Kept the kitchen cool.
nice and clean. Our pumpkin pie turned out nice. You know, Linda, we've done so many nice things in the kettle in this series. You know, we've done German food, we've done low-calorie food, we've done
We've
so
done
many
tailgate parties.
tailgate parties.
So I
It's been
think
really nice.
I think we've all learned that cooking in the out of doors certainly has lots of advantages and lots of fun attached to it.
I want to keep the cook again.
Oh, listen.
Thanks
it's
for
been
being
a
with
good
us.
time.
Thanks for being with us. I'm John Turzak.
And I'm Linda Carter. And thank you again. And happy holidays, everybody.
For copies of today's recipes, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to The Great American Cookout in care of Group W Cable, Post Office Box 827, Skokie, Illinois, 60076. This has been The Great American Cookout, brought to you by the Weber Stephen Products Company.